Hello everyone, and thank you for coming back to our channel. In today's episode, the story of Lytudiem and Toan continues to unfold with deep emotion. After finding Toan and helping him gradually recover his memory, Lytudiem doesn't just take care of him. She also brings him back to familiar places, hoping to trigger memories from his past. Today, she decides to take him apple harvesting and revisit locations they once went to, together, wishing these moments will help him remember more. As time goes on, their bond grows stronger, and Toan begins to recall certain details from his past. Meanwhile, another important character appears, Toan's older sister. After being unable to contact her brother for so long, Tui suddenly receives information from the police and rushes to see Toan. Their reunion is deeply emotional as the siblings finally meet again after a long separation, bringing many unanswered questions closer to the truth. However, one major mystery remains. Tui still doesn't know where their mother is the person directly connected to Toan's memory loss. As the truth slowly comes to light, Lytudiem must not only face Toan's past, but also stand by him as they confront the challenges ahead together. Will their love be strong enough to overcome everything? And as his sister, what will Tui do to protect Toan? Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming episodes. We'll continue to follow this emotional journey and the surprises still to come. Now let's begin today's story. At the old woman's house, the atmosphere grew quiet after the emotional reunion between Toan and Tui. Toan remained seated, his eyes filled with confusion, but also with a sense of hope. Tui, even though she still didn't fully understand everything that had happened, did her best as his sister to find ways to help him recover his memories. After a brief silence, she stood up and walked closer to Toan and Lytudiem. Tui, smiling softly, her voice calm. You and Lytudiem have found each other now. So, I need to go. Our mother needs me to take her to the doctor. When she's discharged from the hospital, I'll bring her to visit you. Promise me. Okay. She spoke to Toan with gentle but determined eyes. Even though it hurt to see that her brother couldn't remember anything, she held on to the belief that one day Toan would recover his memories and remember the moments they once shared. Tui, looking at Toan emotional. I've missed you so much. Mom has too. Even if you don't remember right now, I believe that one day you will. You'll remember us, your family, and the love we've always had for you. Although Toan couldn't clearly remember who Tui was hearing, her words stirred an unexpected warmth inside him. He nodded slightly, as if to show that he was still trying to find his lost memories. Toan tilting his head, speaking softly, I hope so. One day I'll remember. Tui stepped forward and hugged him once more, then turned to Lytudiem and thanked her for taking care of Toan all this time. She also promised to arrange more support to help him on his journey to recover his memory. After that, she said goodbye and left the house, returning to her family, Lytudiem. Looking at Tui sincerely, I'll take good care of him. Thank you for coming to see him. You'll always have a place in his heart. Toan watched his sister walk away. He felt a bit confused, but deep down, there was a warmth he hadn't felt in a long time. Even though he couldn't remember everything, he knew one thing for sure: he wasn't alone. Early in the morning, Lytudiem and Toan walked together along the familiar path they used to take side by side. Today, she decided to bring him back to the places that once meant something to them. Memories that might help him slowly recover what he had lost. They passed through cool green forests and eventually reached a broken bridge that Toan had once brought her to before. Lytudiem looked at him and gently asked, "Do you remember anything when you see this bridge?" Toan shook his head. He still couldn't recall anything. Lytudiem smiled softly and continued, "You brought me here before. You said that whenever you felt stressed or exhausted, you'd come here, stand up high, look down into the valley, and shout as loud as you could to feel lighter inside." Toan looked at her feeling, as if a faint memory had just brushed past him. Close, but impossible to grasp. Seeing this, Lytudiem encouraged him. "I tried doing it too, just like you did. The doctor said it would take time for your memories to come back, but we'll take it slowly. Don't worry." She placed her hand gently on his shoulder and said, "Come on, let's try doing it again, just like you used to." Lytudiem shouted loudly, her voice echoing through the quiet space. Toan watched her, sensing something deep inside, though it was still unclear. She turned to him and said, "Your turn. Try it, do it with me." Toan hesitated, then shouted at the top of his lungs, "Ugh!" He stared into the open space ahead, and suddenly a sharp pain shot through his head. Toan clutched his head, his face tightening in discomfort. Lytudiem immediately rushed to him, worried. "Are you okay? Does your head hurt?" Toan shook his head, feeling as if a blurry memory had flashed through his mind, only to disappear just as quickly. "It's okay. It was just for a moment." Lytudiem gently comforted him. "It's okay. Little by little, you'll remember. I'll always be here waiting for you." She held him close, wrapping him in warmth and love. Even though everything was still uncertain, Lytudiem knew that together they would get through it all. Lytudiem and Toan walked past the dried-up stream and headed toward the broken bridge they had visited before. The surroundings felt familiar, yet Toan's memories were still blurry. Lytudiem looked at him and gently asked, "Do you remember this bridge?" Toan shook his head, his eyes filled with confusion. "No, I don't remember." Lytudiem didn't show any disappointment. She softly took his hand and continued walking toward the bridge. "Don't worry, you'll remember little by little. This is where we first met, the place where you helped me when I got lost." She stopped and looked at Toan with hopeful eyes. "I remember it very clearly. We crossed this bridge together. I fell, and you carried me. Do you remember?" Toan looked at her. Something inside him stirred, but he still couldn't hold on to it. Suddenly, a sharp headache hit him. He grabbed his head, his face tightening in pain. Lytudiem rushed to him, worried. "Are you okay? Is your head hurting again?" Toan tried to steady himself and said softly, "I remember a little, but it hurts too much." Lytudiem comforted him. "It's okay. Don't worry. I'm here with you. Let everything come back. Slowly. Don't push yourself." With Lytudiem by his side, Toan felt more at ease. She was always gentle and patient, helping him piece things together. Lytudiem took a deep breath, closed her eyes for a moment, then turned to him with a smile. "It's all right. Take your time. Whenever you remember, I'll be right here to help you." They sat down by the bridge, and Toan felt a warmth spread through his chest. Even though his memories hadn't fully returned, he knew he wasn't alone. Lytudiem had always been there for him, and he could feel her love. Lytudiem and Toan continued their apple-picking journey in the orchard, surrounded by lush green trees and the fresh country air. Even though Toan still couldn't remember everything, he began to feel more at ease with Lytudiem by his side. The two of them walked between the apple trees, carrying large bags slowly filling with fresh fruit. Lytudiem walked ahead, pointing out the ripest apples, the ones with the best color. "Hey, this one looks really good, doesn't it?" Lytudiem said, holding up a big apple for Toan to see. "Yeah, that one's pretty big," Toan replied, trying to follow her hand. "That one looks good." Lytudiem smiled softly and kept picking. "This one's bad, throw it out. And this one's kind of pale, it's probably too old." Toan nodded and did as she said, setting aside the damaged apples and placing the good ones into the bag. Even though he couldn't clearly remember the past, the work itself started to feel familiar. There was a quiet warmth in being next to Lytudiem, and it made him feel calm. "Hey, let's go over there," Lytudiem said, pointing to another area. "That side of the orchard has a lot of apples." Toan followed her. Along the narrow path, they kept picking, working steadily together. Lytudiem suddenly thought to herself, "Today is going to be a good day." She knew that little by little, Toan's memories would come back. By doing these simple things together, she hoped he would feel relaxed and slowly recover. "Hey, this one's huge." Lytudiem laughed, handing him another big apple. "Try it. I bet it's really sweet." Toan took the apple and took a bite. "It really is sweet. This one's so good." He closed his eyes for a moment, enjoying the taste, feeling something familiar and comforting. "Here, you try it," Toan said, holding the apple out to Lytudiem. She smiled, took a bite, and tasted the sweetness like a memory from long ago. "It's really good," Lytudiem said with a smile, then looked back at Toan. "Should we finish up and head back?" "Yeah, I think that's enough," Toan replied, gently lifting the bag of apples. "Thank you for everything." Lytudiem looked at him with loving eyes and helped him with one of the heavy bags. "Put this one on your shoulder for me, okay? I'll carry this one." "No, I'll carry it," Toan said, taking the bag from her. It was a bit heavy, but he felt happy doing it together with her. With bags of apples in their hands, their steps were light yet full of hope. Even though his memories were still unclear, the feelings they shared were growing deeper with each step. As the morning began, the fresh countryside air filled everything around them. Lytudiem and Toan got ready for a new workday. They walked along the village road where locals were starting to set up stalls with fresh products. Lytudiem carried a basket of apples, planning to sell them at the market to earn some extra income. Toan hadn't fully recovered his memory yet, but being with Lytudiem made him feel calm and quietly happy. Lytudiem smiling at Toan. "Hey, does selling apples today sound fun? We'll just talk to people and sell a bit." Toan nodding. "Yeah, it does. Doing simple things like this with you, Makes me feel a lot better. They stopped at a corner of the market where a few vendors had already set up. Lytudiem gently placed the basket of apples down and started calling out to passers-by. Lytudiem smiling as she called to customers. Apples here, sweet apples. Only 25,000 per kilo. Toan stood beside her, watching as she worked. His eyes were still a bit distant, unable to fully remember the past, but part of him felt happy seeing her so cheerful and hardworking. Toan whispering, "You're really good at this. Selling like that. You're definitely going to attract a lot of customers." Lytudiem smiled, feeling the support in his words. They kept selling apples to people passing by. As she focused on her work, Toan looked around and slowly took in the scene. A faint memory flickered in his mind, but it wasn't clear enough to hold on to. After a while, Lytudiem said to him, "Hey, let's go inside the market for a bit. I want to buy you some shoes. It's cold walking around like this. You need something warm." Toan nodding, looking down at his worn sandals. "You always notice the little things." "Thank you." Lytudiem led him into a nearby shoe shop and picked out warm shoes suitable for winter. Toan stood there, quietly looking at the shoes with a hesitant expression. Lytudiem smiling. "Choosing a pair. Try these on. They're really warm. They'll keep your feet from getting cold." Toan looked at the shoes, slightly surprised. He wasn't used to being taken care of like this, but he could feel her warmth and concern. Toan smiling touched, "You're so thoughtful." "Thank you." Lytudiem gently, "It's nothing. I just want you to be healthy and happy." After he tried them on, Lytudiem asked the shop clerk about the price. "Lytudiem, excuse me, how much are these?" Shop clerk, "They're 30,000. Lytudiem paid, and the two of them walked out of the shop. They paused for a moment as Toan looked down at his new shoes and smiled. Toan softly, "You're really so good to me. I don't know how to repay you." Lytudiem smiled and gently brushed his hair back. "Don't think about that. I just want to help you have a better life. We'll get through everything together." Toan nodded his heart, feeling warm. Even though he couldn't remember everything, yet being cared for by Lytudiem made him feel loved and protected. The two of them continued walking through the market road, calm and content, with bags of apples in their hands and new shoes on Toan's feet. Even though his memories hadn't fully returned in his heart, Lytudiem was everything: his support, his strength, and the person he could rely on during hard times. And no matter what the future held, he knew she would always be by his side. As the day slowly came to an end, the sun dipped lower behind the trees, casting a warm golden light across the quiet village road. Lytudiem and Toan walked side by side, their pace unhurried, the sounds of the market fading behind them. The baskets were lighter now, but their hearts felt fuller. It hadn't been an extraordinary day. No sudden memories returned. No dramatic breakthroughs. Yet something meaningful had quietly taken root. Toan glanced at the ground beneath his feet, feeling the solid warmth of the new shoes. They felt unfamiliar, yet comforting, much like his life right now. There were gaps in his mind, empty spaces where memories should be. But when he looked at Lytudiem walking beside him, he felt steady. There was no pressure, no expectation, only patience. He didn't remember when he had first trusted her, or why her presence felt so natural. But he knew this much: when he felt lost, she stayed. When his head hurt and his thoughts became tangled, she didn't rush him or demand answers. She simply held his hand and waited. Lytudiem noticed his silence and slowed her steps, matching his pace. She didn't ask what he was thinking. She had learned that healing wasn't about questions, it was about time. Every small moment mattered, walking together, sharing fruit, working side by side, laughing at simple things. These were the threads she hoped would slowly stitch his memories back together. As they reached the quiet path leading home, a soft breeze passed through the trees. Toan took a deep breath. For a brief second, something flickered in his chest. Not a clear memory, but a feeling. A sense that he had walked this road before, that he had once known where it led. The feeling didn't last long, but it didn't scare him either. "I don't remember much," he finally said, his voice calm. "But I feel safe." Lytudiem looked at him and smiled, not the kind of smile filled with relief, but one full of understanding. "That's enough for now," she replied gently. "We have time." They continued walking their shadows, stretching long across the ground. The future was still uncertain, and the past remained incomplete, but neither of them felt alone anymore. Love, they realized, didn't always arrive with grand gestures or perfect memories. Sometimes it lived quietly in daily routines and shared work, in the choice to stay even when things were unclear. As night approached, the village grew still. Lights turned on in distant houses and the air cooled. Toan walked a little closer to Lytudiem, not out of fear, but out of trust. Whatever lay ahead, whether his memories returned fully or not, he knew one thing for certain. This journey wasn't something he had to face alone. And as long as Lytudiem was there, walking beside him, he believed that no matter how slow the path forward might be, it would still lead somewhere warm, familiar, and worth reaching.